Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to speak to your audience. And today I'll tell you all about my research on AI safety and security. Let's see if I can. I've been doing work in this area for about 10 years, give or take. And I'll try to compress all my knowledge in that field to about 20 minutes. I'll start by telling you what is AI safety and security. We are all trying to create more capable artificial intelligence, more capable systems, but we want them to also be safe and secure, safe for users and secure against hackers. So really, it's a kind of intermingled field between machine learning and cybersecurity. What we have today is artificial intelligence. We have Siri, we have self-driving cars, but I'm very interested in trying to understand what we can expect in the future, long-term future, near future. And it seems that superintelligence is next level of artificial intelligence. What is superintelligence? Systems more capable than people in many domains. We already see it in chess, we see it in certain aspects of scientific research, but let's understand why I have this prediction about the future. So first of all, resources, computational resources and human resources are incredibly large in this field. All the big companies, Facebook, Google, are trying to get to human level intelligence. Additionally, White House, European Union provided unprecedented levels of funding for this type of research. We now have conferences in this field. We have very good progress in all the benchmarks. So it's possible it will happen. Now, immediately people want to know how soon will it happen? How soon can we expect super intelligent machines? And it's very hard to make predictions, especially about the future, but I rely on work of Ray Kurzweil. He's a director of engineering at Google, and he does beautiful work with prediction curves for exponential technology. He says that 2045, or maybe even sooner, is the likely date when we have sufficient computational resources to emulate human brain. So we'll have capability to do what a human brain does. And as long as software is developed to take advantage of this hardware, we'll get to super intelligent performance. What are different properties of super intelligent systems? So obviously, kind of by definition, they're super smart. What does that mean? In any given domain, such a system is smarter than any given human. We have examples from different game worlds. Chess, checkers, Go. We see it now with self-driving cars. They're safer than average human driver. And slowly, AI takes over all the different fields until eventually science and engineering themselves become a part of this AI-dominated category. We also can predict that the systems will be super complex. What does that mean? In terms of their memory processing, in terms of complexity of parts, number of parts, here's a visual example. A modern airplane has a very complex control panel. This is essentially the GUI interface. It's not the source code behind the autopilot. It's not the source code controlling the airplane. But even that is so complex, I think it's very easy for humans to get confused and make an error. We already seen it happen with actual airplanes where accidents unfortunately happened because no pilot is experienced enough to exercise all the different combinations of source code behind the controls, behind the autopilot, and so they're not prepared to work together with the autopilot in emergency situations. We can also talk about how fast these systems will be. We know that computers are fast, but here we're talking about something else. We're talking about ultra-fast extreme events. AI system, a superintelligent system, can change your whole environment so quickly you don't have time to react. It can, for example, crash the stock market and bring it back up in nanoseconds. You won't even realize that $1 billion worth of wealth has been wiped out. So you cannot react to it live. You cannot kind of sit there monitoring it, making sure it's doing fine. Additionally, these systems will be very controlling. How can we tell? We already observe the situation today, not super intelligent systems, but just very narrow AI systems already control majority of the stock market, utility companies, power plants, nuclear response. We essentially already surrendered control over most of our infrastructure to those systems. As a cybersecurity guy, I'm very interested in how AI and malware will work together. We definitely see increase in number of viruses, proliferation, how impactful they are. But when you have AI capable of social engineering attacks combined with this malevolent payload, you're definitely getting unprecedented level of attack capabilities. If right now it takes hours to develop a single spear phishing attack tailored to a particular user, this type of system can easily attack 1 million, 1 billion accounts at once. We're also starting to see a lot of interest from military in using this technology. There is some good use for it, for example, in rescue robotics, but also it's obviously that one of the goals of military is to be able to quickly target humans, so autonomous drones, killer robots are a big part of the research agenda. Now, what do I do in my work? I try to understand different ways intelligent systems can fail, classify them, and see what we can do to prevent this from happening. So here's a taxonomy we created for looking at this. We can look at pre-deployment or post-deployment phases, and we can look at common problems with programming, problems with design of the system, but also malevolent design. Same people who create computer viruses, if they get a hold of intelligent systems, what can they do? They can add additional malevolent payload, and they still have the same problems with programming, with debugging, with design. So it's a strictly most challenging case to address. How do you deal with insider threats in case of AI being developed at some company and internally is being misused? So if we do get to that stage where AI becomes available as a service, just add your own goals. Who can become an attacker? Who should we be on the lookout for? And the problem is that really anyone, whatever they're teenagers, hackers, foreign military, governments, all of them can just add their own goals and use this amazing technology for malevolent purposes. What can they possibly do? Well, they're limited by their own imagination and actually capabilities of the superintelligent systems. They can take over cyber infrastructure. They can engage in social engineering attacks on large scale. And very importantly, they can do something we cannot predict. We're not super intelligent, so they would engage in unknown unknowns, attacks for which we cannot really prepare because we don't anticipate they are even possible. So I don't want you to think that the problems will only start when we get to super intelligent level. Even today, with existing systems, they are already being used for spear phishing attacks, for social engineering attacks, for spam. I want to show you technology which exists today. So one capability AI has is generating artificially pictures, videos, audio. And this is technology we only had since about 2014, but the progress in it has been really exponential. We went from black and white, low resolution images you can see on the bottom of that slide, to really, you can't tell if it's a real person or a fake person, if that image is real or fake. Now, there are also recent experiments with creating optical illusions, images which deceive human visual system. For example, there at the top left, you see an image of either a cat or a dog. Most people looking at them will get a perception of two different types of animals, but they're really just different in a few pixels. They were on purpose modified to create this capability. So for this technology, right now is the 2014, we are just starting to develop it. progress exponentially 5, 6, 10 years forward, what type of optical illusions and human visual system manipulation can be achieved at that point for, again, malevolent purposes. In the right top corner of the slide, you see two pictures which may look almost identical to you, two faces, but they are optical illusions designed to fool other AIs, other machines. For a machine, one of those is almost with 100% confidence picture of a male, the other one is a female. So while a human would not notice a difference, this is an attack against intelligent face recognition system. The good news is there is a lot of understanding of problems we are facing and a lot of books, a lot of research coming out to address those questions. I have my book there with some really accomplished collaborators. We're trying to understand how this technology and malevolent aspects of it may impact economics, politics, law, and obviously computer science. So in terms of trying to understand what solutions we can propose, we surveyed pretty much all the literature we could find at the time on how to handle malevolent artificial intelligence. We found about 300 references, and we can't really tell you about all of them in detail. We classified them, formed them into groups, and I'll give you some examples of what people have proposed. Please do note that the earliest reference we have there is 1863. That was the first time we found someone saying, hey, machines are getting out of control. So that's really interesting. So the first proposal I've seen people kind of make is do nothing. I don't have a picture for it. I don't have any additional information to give you. The idea is that either we're not going to succeed, we'll never create super intelligent machines, or because they are so intelligent, they'll just be nice to us. We don't have to worry about this problem. I think it's problematic. First of all, the main problem is you can't get funding for this, right? You cannot get a grant for this type of research, so I'm very much against it. But second of all, it's very optimistic. It's assuming that this very powerful technology, very capable technology cannot be dual-use technology, cannot be used for nefarious purposes. And I think that's wrong. Another approach, a more futuristic approach, and something spearheaded by Elon Musk in his Neuralink project, is to say, what can we do in terms of becoming more competitive as a species? So human beings are not as smart as super intelligent machines, but maybe we can upload our brains to a computer or merge with computers in some way. And this improved, enhanced human beings would be as smart as super intelligent machines and become more competitive. It is a very interesting approach. It may succeed, but the problem is it feels like in a process we stop being what we are. We kind of stop being humans. If you are a piece of software running on a laptop, can you really claim that we saved humanity and preserved it from any dangers of artificial intelligence? Probably the most famous proposal for dealing with malevolent artificial intelligence is by Isaac Asimov, 3 Laws of Robotics. I'm sure all of you saw the movie, read the books, but I want you to realize that this is not an actual solution. It's a literary tool to sell books. If you remember, they fail every single time. They are self-contradictory, they are ill-defined, and you can try increasing the number of those laws. It doesn't really matter. You're still going to have problems. You can make it 10 rules, 10 laws. We tried it with humans. It just doesn't work. So if you remember one thing from this presentation, 3 Laws of Robotics is not a solution to AI safety. What are some possible approaches which may give us more time to do research, may be helpful in kind of controlling those intelligent machines and making sure that they are performing as expected? So one area of computer science which holds some promise, and in my opinion, is verification and validation of software we write. We know how to do it for mission-critical software for mission-critical projects, for nuclear power control plants, for satellites. We can mathematically prove that the code we write matches the design perfectly. There is no bugs. It's an expensive process. It is very time-consuming, but we can do it for at least small programs. The problem is if you have an AI system, which is not deterministic, but is learning from the environment, is self-modifying, improving, changing all the time. We don't know how to control that process. We don't know how to verify that a system operating in a novel domain, in a situation it's never been in before, is performing according to specifications. So this is an open area of research, how to do software verification for self-improving systems, self-modifying systems. And it's something we are very interested in doing additional work in. Another relevant technology for, again, trying to not necessarily control AI, but at least develop tools for programmers to be able to control those systems, to buy us more time to better study them, is to create confinement environments. So if you think about how computer viruses are studied, we get a computer virus, we put it on an air-gapped system, isolated from internet, and we try to study what it does, what servers it tries to communicate it, what information it's sending in and out. The goal is to fully understand how it works in a safe and controlled environment. Given that we are predicting that these super intelligent systems will be dangerous in terms of social engineering attacks, what we wanted to create is a virtual environment in which you can test the system. It may not even know it's being tested. And we can control information going in and out. We can decide exactly how much information system attains. It can learn by having access to internet, so it's obviously disconnected from any external parts of the network. And we can give it just enough information to kind of showcase its capability, and same with communication to the user. Even those testing the system are not safe. It can use different social engineering techniques for an attack. So we can limit amount of information flowing in both directions. And we can also integrate a reset option, kind of shut it off button for restarting the experiment. So the system doesn't learn from multiple sets of repeated experiments. We can control what information it gets, where it goes, what it does. So this is not a solution. This is, again, another tool to try to address this problem. I want to conclude by giving you this list of different examples of how historically AI systems have failed. We see this exponential growth, and it seems that AI failures are growing both in frequency and severity, proportionate to AI capabilities. I have a recent paper which takes it not just to 2016, but all the way to 2020, and tells you what accidents you can predict might happen in the future, and how your technology, your service may be impacted by those possible dangers. So thank you so much. And if you are interested in learning more, you can see different papers I wrote on this subject. They are available for free. You can find them on Google Scholar. And if you want to contact me, ask any questions, I'm very happy to answer them. You can get in touch on Twitter and Facebook. Just don't follow me home. Thank you.
What a great session. Thank you, Roman.